we're going to be talking about is pretty much the future of housing and the opportunities that are abound for tech startups. Um, I actually stumbled on fiber.ng a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, "This is quite interesting." Although there was a level of ambiguity in terms of what the service or unique value proposition was all about. So, although I've clarified that on Twitter, I would like to actually delve more into that. So hopefully we can get Obinna back before in the next. Okay, so well, let's just okay, great. Let's just get into it. So, just again, interesting stuff. I stumbled on fiber.ng, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but it came out of the Playable City event, kind of like a incubator kind of program kind of thing. Is that right?
No. I think we were mentioned there. We didn't.
You were mentioned there. Okay. Okay, because I saw that. Yeah, because I saw an hashtag like Playable City.
I saw that as well.
Okay, so I thought that maybe that was where y'all came out from. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So and like I said the first time, like when I said on Twitter, I was like, oh, this is fantastic. But then I can interpret this as two things. Yeah, it's for people that are looking for places to live short term, like someone has I need a place to rent for 1 month. I want to fly out. I want to come back to stay for 3 months. Or I actually get locked into a contract for like a year, but then I'm paying monthly, which I think is the other bit. But then can you just like clarify that, like what is the value proposition here for fiber?
Okay, so the value proposition of fiber, we just really want to make it possible for people in Nigeria, so Nigerians living in Nigeria, to be able to pay rent monthly, live in good quality homes and pay rent monthly, right? Because right now we're having a situation where people who are earning monthly are being asked to make 1 year, in some instances, 2 years down payment on rent. And it's not like they're owning the place. It's not like they're paying a mortgage. It's not like that money is going to kind of give them an asset in the future. And I just think, and I think a lot of the market thinks that it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You have people who can afford to live closer to work and pay monthly. You have them having to live further out and having to endure late traffic and all that to get to work, and it's just stress. And so what we're trying to do is like in other parts of the world, we're trying to make it possible for people to live really wherever you want to live in Lagos and pay rent monthly. As you get paid your salary, you can pay your rent, and not need to break the bank looking for a home.
And again, so that's fantastic. Again, that's value in itself. So like, don't see it as me undermining what you're doing at all. That's very big value, and I'm very sure a lot of people that are living paycheck to paycheck will see very big value in this. So just to get an idea of, okay, so yeah, that's how it works. So like, am I still going to sign a contract that keeps me in that house for 1 year, 2 years, and then I get to pay monthly, or like how does that? Because here, why I said that is, like, for example, where I'm staying right now, you lock in a contract for 1 year, you pay a 1 month security deposit, and then you pay your first rent, and then you move in, and then that's how we go. So like if tomorrow, if I say like my rent, maybe my contract is valid to, like, say end of this year, 2016. And tomorrow I say I want to move out, and all, like, there are clauses in my contract that say, okay, you have to give the landlord so much of time and stuff, or you don't, or you forfeit your deposit and all. Like, what's the play here? Are you still locking people into contracts for a particular period of time, like stuff like that? How does that work?
Yes. So the goal is that.
Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah.
All right, so the goal is that we're locking people down into 1 year contracts to start. Now, before you get the key, you'll pay 25% of the outstanding payment. Of what you would have paid over the year, you pay 25% of that, and that counts as your first month's rent. And from the second month to the 12th month, you're spreading 75% of what's left. Does that answer your question?
So 25% of what? Of your yearly rent?
Yeah. So before you get the key, right? You're paying 25%. I mean, it's like a 3-month initial down payment.
Okay.
And that's a kind of that's for safety.
Oh yeah.
To make sure that people aren't just coming and then bouncing, or people aren't just coming looking for shortlets and then bouncing. Because the market that we're trying to target are people who live and work in the city, and so we don't want people, at least not now. We don't want people who our initial market aren't people who don't see aren't people shortlet. So getting 3 months up front kind of gives us some kind of
Okay. That makes sense. And
security.
I mean, one thing
as in terms of financial risk.
Yeah.
That deposit goes down, but right now it's 3 months up front. Hello?
Yeah, sorry, it's like kind of like breaking there, so I'm not sure if you've stopped talking or you're still talking.
Hello?
That's like just yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you, but it's kind of like breaking.
Am I breaking up?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. Did you hear everything I said?
Yeah. That's clear. So you pay 25% of the year's rent. You get your key.
Yeah.
You pay the remaining 55 over what's left of the year.
Yes.
So that makes sense. They're like, so you're getting people staying committed. They're not looking for short wins and all, like, yeah. Because how do you know if they'll actually stick to? So that's very good. One thing I've learned, like, in a very interesting way, is that even when you come up with something that's of glaring value, it doesn't mean people actually jump on it or not. So, I mean, what has been the reception so far in terms of? I know you have a landing page, people requesting early access or not. But then, I mean, aside from the conversations that you have, because it's one thing for people to say, "Oh, it's fantastic and it's amazing," but then it's another thing of actually putting in their emails to what Alex are calling and saying, "Okay, what's up? Like, when can we get on this?" So, what's been the reception so far in what you're trying to do?
So the reception has been overwhelmingly positive. I think we're extremely excited with the emails, the tweets, the calls that we're getting, because it seems like Nigerians have been waiting for this for a really long time. The first location went online yesterday, and we've already started receiving applications to live in that location. The goal is to get people living in there by the 1st of June, and then to obviously grow to many more locations from that. We have a bunch of locations in the pipeline, so we want to feel out how this one sits, and then once that's done, we'll begin to kind of proliferate a little quicker. But the reception has been very positive, and it's not just. I mean, the first day that we sent out a tweet, we sent out one tweet, 2 tweets about fiber. And we had, in that day, I think we had about 150 people sign up for early access. And I mean, right now, I think we have about 500 people in the early access batch, and that continues to grow, especially since we released the first place yesterday. So once we released the first place, we had a bunch of people, new people, come online and ask for early access as well. So overwhelmingly positive response. I think Lagos especially, and I think Nigeria at large has been waiting for this.
That's great. That's very good. Shameless plug here. I'm working with the guys behind Travel Bay. That's a safe to travel startup. And I mean, it was fantastic. Yeah. When we were pitching, people were like, "Oh, this is amazing! Oh, I'm going to oh, I can't wait! You guys just launched! And then we launched, and then nothing. And I was like, so that's I said, like, you learn these things the hard way. When people like say, "Oh, yes, we want," and then you bring it in. But then I was like, okay, let me say thing of. I mean, of course, things have changed over time. We're spending less time actually like talking to people that always get excited about stuff, people that really need it. So we have to like change not target market, but who we're communicating with, and that's how bringing results and all. So that's how it's like jump on it and all, like, because I'm very sure you get a lot of like digital, what bank calls digital high fives. people say, "Oh yes, amazing," and then okay, yeah, start getting. Okay, but let's just move ahead from that. Let's know the person behind this idea because, I mean, I don't know who said this, but it was like when they're looking to invest in a startup idea, they look at the team, the opportunity, and the team. So,
Mhm.
tell us about yourself. Who are you, and who are you working with on this, and how did that start out?
Okay, so a little bit about me. I grew up in Nigeria, primary school, secondary school, primary school in Grange, secondary school in Austria. And then I went to England for A levels. And then after that, I went to school at MIT for undergrad. And I spent 4 years there. And right after undergrad, I went to Morgan Stanley to join the real estate team. And I was there for a year. But during my undergrad, I had been interning in the real estate team all 3 years. And so I've always been super interested in real estate. I didn't exactly know what angle to look at to like attack real estate from. It was definitely going to be real estate in Nigeria. Um, and so I was in Morgan Stanley, and I quit my job uh, in July last year to move back to Nigeria. I wasn't really sure what I was going to do, but I figured this was the time. Um, so I came back and kind of joined the struggle and joined the hustle in Lagos and stumbled from idea to idea. Fiber actually initially was going to be a network of co-working spaces. And I started talking to people about that. I started interviewing people about that, and then by God's grace, a bunch of people, including some of my good friends, advised me that the market was in housing, not necessarily working, because the problem with co-working spaces is that the attrition is high. Um, and so I fixed attentions to housing in January, and started drumming up interest, started raising a little bit of money, and that's how Fiverr came about, and I think that's a bit about me.
And
Now, in terms of,
is it a one-man thing?
sorry, go ahead. No, not exactly. I'm for the most part running it, but I have three other people who I kind of started it with.
Great. Okay, that's fantastic. Out of that answer alone, I have like 20 questions, but I'm very sure many entrepreneurs have answered those over time. It's
Yeah,
the likes of Jason Njoku coming back from London as well to start Iroko.
yeah,
You coming back
yeah.
from London to start Fiber and all. So Fiber, in that case, from what I'm deducing, Fiber was your first entrepreneurial venture when you came back to Nigeria, or
Um,
did you start
no,
something before that?
it's the first main thing. I played around with some mobile applications because I got a little into that when I was in New York. But Fiverr is the first kind of thing that I've raised money for, putting my full weight behind, and I'm in it for the long term.
For a long time. That's awesome. So you mentioned previously that you have a first property that you've listed, and
Yeah,
people are
yeah.
going to get in there by June. How is the Are you going to go the Airbnb approach instead of like listing stuff like publicly online, practically just like putting the and just like clicking and making bookings, or is it going to be kind of like contact us and then we'll show you what's in our catalog kind of thing? Like, is it going to be like that open or behind the scenes kind of like deals and stuff?
So that's a good question. And and me and a good friend of mine were talking about this the other day. I think that my inclination right now is not to make an open listing. Um, I'm trying to make it more targeted than that. So if you come online, right, and your rent expires if your rent expires in July, right, and you're looking for a place then, right, and hopefully we catch you early enough and you tell us what you want, right, and if we can pull enough people, if we can pull enough people together, we can begin to release places that are based on the demand that we are getting. And the idea that we have is not to kind of flood the website with places. We want to release places, or maybe on a weekly basis, release new locations on a weekly basis, but make sure that the demand is dictating the supply. just so that we don't have places sitting there idle. I think that's the play that we're trying to that's the angle that we're trying to attack it at. I'm just not a big fan of listings, and I think that we can do things much more efficiently than that.
That makes a lot of sense. So you're going more of like let's actually pair people up to like people looking for properties rather than just having a
Exactly.
marketplace and
Exactly.
a lot of noise.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
it's better for us, right? It's better for us as well because then we don't have idle supply sitting there. So I'm not just going there and thinking, this place is fresh, or let me just drop it. Let me see. People will still come and take it, and then it just sits there and nobody takes it. So that way we're allowing what people want to dictate what we
Yeah.
kind of
Okay.
put on.
And just to, I don't know how much detail you want to go into your operations or not. But just want to because I stumbled on I would say they're doing something similar to what you did. They're more like what I was looking for in terms of like, okay, if I'm in Nigeria for 3 months, I want somewhere I can stay, not an hotel. And they called Amara Suit. I don't know if you have heard of them.
I've heard of it once. Yeah.
Okay. So they rent like from the land developers and stuff, and like like resell like kind of like release kind of thing and all. Like,
Mm-hmm.
is that how do you guys actually come up with your properties? Do you actually say, okay, I want to rent this place for I'm going to get this place for 2 years and then sub rent that for like to people?
So yeah, that's the play right now. We're working with landlords to. I can't obviously go into too much detail about how we're doing that, but we're working with landlords and renting places from the landlords, and then re-renting that to people in a sense.
So in that case, your revenue is pretty much the margin between the two, like how much you rent it for, how much you rent it out.
Yeah, you can think about it that way.
Okay. Okay. I mean, we don't want you like spilling the stuff and all, but yeah, interesting. Okay, let's go into a more like vague area there. I mean, what you gotta do now is interesting. It's okay, definitely of value, and
Mm-hmm.
yes, I personally have chosen and decided to shy away from marketplace type startups because that was my first startup, Easy Appetite, the online takeaway site where you have to like deal with restaurants and people ordering food, and it was a nightmare. Logistics and everything. So I like if I had the option of actually like okay, marketplace, I would have like prefer definitely go for. So kudos to you for actually going down that lane of
Thank
dealing
you.
with landlords and people looking for
Yeah.
rent. But let's go. I mean, we're looking at housing in general now. Like
Mm-hmm.
WeWork, I said WeWork has been interesting, and they're going to like launch their relief vertical Airbnb, very vibrant community. I use them. I like
Mm-hmm.
it's very open stuff. Um, in Nigeria, that space in terms of like housing and I mean that's one area. Like, but I mean you've spotted the gap and Fiber is trying to like leverage to get an opportunity. But are there any other things you've seen? I mean, in the value chain from start to finish, like from housing. I mean, in the housing area, maybe it's from people trying to even get land to actually build their houses, to rent their houses, to make more money because a lot of people in Nigeria have like 3, 4 bedroom apartments and they only use one room. Like from a utility point of view, and I mean, just to get your 2 cents, any other opportunities that founders, entrepreneurs should be looking at in terms of the housing space.
So there's actually a couple of people. I think one interesting company that I've stumbled upon, and it's a friend of mine that runs it. It's called Woko, and what they're doing, WOCO, and what they're doing is in a situation where you have a 3 bedroom apartment, right? And you have 2 rooms or 1 room empty. You let them know, and they kind of allow that room to be your short let ish. And then they pair people up with you, and those people live there for whatever term, and then you make money off of that. I think that's one huge opportunity that they've kind of placed their hands on, and I think that can be pretty big. Now, in terms of going up the value chain, I think that then you start getting into developing, and you start getting into kind of building and selling, or building and leasing, and being more of a landlord type thing. I think that they're very. I mean, it will forever remain lucrative because it's real estate. But I do think that it's a little tough right now because if you're developing as a developer and that's your means of sustenance, and the interest rates that you're borrowing at are super high, and the mortgage rates are way too high for it to for it to make sense. For you to rent out monthly, for example. So that's something that's a problem that we're seeing. So if I'm approaching a landlord and I'm as fiber, I'm approaching a landlord who has borrowed money from the bank to create this place, right? He's going to be hesitant to listen to me saying that I'm trying to rent this place out monthly because he has a large debt that he has to settle. So that's more. I think when we go up there, and that I think is a large bottleneck in the entire system, not just for the developers, but even for companies like fiber, right? Because then monthly rent doesn't make sense to those guys, and unless you're going to go and build your own, as they always say, then it's a big problem.
Okay.
So to answer your question, I think that I think that the kind of what Woco is doing is interesting.
Okay.
I also think that there's space to get cheaper mortgages, cheaper lower interest rate mortgages in the country through safe kind of bets like fiber. I think fiber is a pretty safe bet. And if you can get cheaper mortgages and attach them to fiber properties, obviously I'm selling fiber. And make it so that fiber is your tenant, then you're guaranteed income. And you're
I like how everything keeps coming back to fiber. so that's good. Okay, so I mean, we're getting to the end of the chat, anyways. But so what next for you guys? Like you did mention you have the option of actually owning your properties or not. And I know Airbnb, I mean, even though they don't decide to own their properties, they actually facilitate people in the process of getting more. So, like, what's the future? Like, what's the future? I mean, it's a very big question. What is what's going to happen to fiber down the line in the next three to 6 years?
So I'll attack that question from two sides, right? So from terms of facilitating people owning homes, I think that's something that fiber has to definitely do. And we have to facilitate developers owning homes, and we have to facilitate even people in the fiber network owning homes. Because if you're a fiber tenant and you've been living with us for 5 years and it's time for you to get a mortgage, right? I haven't done a good job if I cannot get you a cheap enough mortgage that makes sense to you. And also, if you're a developer and you're trying to list your stuff on fiber, right? I haven't done a good job. Or I'm not helping you facilitate your process as well as I can if I haven't done the work to get you a cheap mortgage. So I think that's something that we will definitely do in the near term. Now, for the future of fiber, I think that fiber is interesting because yes, what we're doing is making it possible for people to pay rent monthly. But if you step back, right, that's effectively allowing people to prove whether or not they're creditworthy. And I think that is an asset that we have. And because of the way we've structured fiber is a safe platform for not only landlords to rent stuff out monthly, but it's also a safe platform for if you're a furniture company, right? And you've been thinking about expanding your operations, you've been thinking about selling furniture on credit, right? You can go and sell furniture on credit on your own, right? But that's way riskier. Or you can partner with fiber and through our homes sell furniture. And actually, there is one of the largest furniture companies in Nigeria is currently creating a furniture line for fiber because they see this as a safe way for them to sell furniture on credit. But it's not just furniture, right? It's a bunch of other things. It's electronics. It's everything, really. Yeah. So I think that's the long-term play. It's housing now, but the long-term play is how can we open up the consumer credit market in Nigeria, and so that's what keeps us up at night.
Yeah, I also had like moment right now, like looking at those possibilities and that like fiber becoming an operating system for credit lines or for housing. So that's amazing. So well done, on that. I don't know if Dami or other viewers have any other have questions for you and all, but I think that's definitely an interesting space. I happen to be a son of a of a man who is really passionate about housing as well.
Yeah.
Is, is been part of the whole Habitat for Humanity and a lot of initiatives actually getting people out of the slums to
Yeah.
affordable housing and all. He's also
Yeah.
worked with the government to sort of like try to like create housing units and all for Nigerians and all. So yeah, I mean how and that kind of like rubbed up for me because a man who has a roof over his head, like it goes a long way in how the life standard, how one standard of living actually comes to play. So, housing is definitely very important.
I think Dami has a question.
There's a question from Dami saying, I may have missed this piece of information, but will the apartments be fully furnished?
So we're split down the middle on that. So for all the buildings that we take, half of them will be fully furnished and half of them will be unfurnished, just because we want people to who want to furnish themselves to be able to do that.
Okay.
But there will be 50% of whatever we take will be furnished and 50% will be unfurnished.
Okay, so yeah, I hope that answers your question, Dami. It's been fun. Okay, I think. Yep, great. It's been fantastic having you on board. I'm very sure I'll keep in touch to see what you guys have been
Please,
to and all.
please, and then
You did
we'll send you updates.
you did say down the line as well that you might actually be solving my problem with actually looking people are looking for short-term leases. Is that still on the table?
So we are looking at that.
Yeah,
We will either be solving it or we will be partnering with a company that solves it.
Okay, perfect.
But through Fiverr, you will make sure it's down the line.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it. I know it's the weekend and all, but yeah,
Thank you.
I'm very sure we'll keep in touch. And yeah, thanks for everybody tuning in again for another episode of Startup Rant. Have a lovely weekend and God bless. Yeah, cheers.
Thank you very much.
Okay, folks. Yeah, that's it. Really. Cheers and have a good weekend. It's me, Newbie K, signing out and keep in touch. Next, in 2 weeks' time, we're going to be talking about agriculture. Yeah, the food. I mean, food is very important. I mean, three things, three basic human needs: food, clothing, and housing. We'll talk about housing today. We're going to jump to agriculture, food tomorrow. In 2 weeks' time, and then clothing, fashion. What's happening in that space? Yeah. Hopefully, we can get more opportunities that can actually like take people away from that fixation on e-commerce. So thank you very much, Snoopy K, signing out. Have a nice weekend. God bless.